Okay, good morning. Today we are going to go over a couple of the things that you had provided, a couple of patterns you did a little work on, and I wanted to talk to you about them and kind of review them with you. So the first one we're going to do is the Crazyhorse path of travel, as you know, because you drew this out. You're starting down here, drag race up, 90 right, into a circle, come back out, 90 right, 90 left. You have basically it's a 90 quick left, 90 right, back out. Really straightforward, okay? So I want to talk about the path of travel that you drew out here, and we can discuss it. So, but a couple things while I'm talking about that is some of the things in your brain. If this is a chute here, we're wide open, full throttle, threshold braking up here. This is not a cruise pattern. This is where we're going to make up a lot of time on people. Okay, so you have a good line here. You're moving to the left so that you can drop over and get a nice sweep right here. So you're missing this cone. From this point forward, you kind of go linear here. This is sort of a straight line into a circle using that whole pattern. I don't mind that. But a couple things, and I'm going to draw it out with my version of the Crazyhorse. A couple thoughts. We talk about smooth arcs, taking advantage of dropping in more over here. Remember, we talk about where's the turn? Well, typically the turn is this line right here, right? But remember, just like I showed you with the keyhole, if this is where the keyhole starts, which is right here, I want my turn back here, right? I want to take advantage. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start my turn back here. Why am I going to start my turn back here? Because this is the free space. You're starting your turn up here, which is already where everyone else is starting their turn because they recognize this as the turning box, right? This is where we turn. I say no, we turn down here, okay? So that's a little bit of a difference. What's that gonna look like? That's gonna bring me more in here. I'm gonna be, see how you're out wide here? That's okay. Can you get through this with your line? Absolutely. Is it the fastest line? Absolutely not. It's not. So we're gonna drop in more over here. Again, we're going to take advantage of the distance from this line down here. That's a lot more space. And again, on easy patterns, this doesn't matter. Yes, it matters in the sense that I'm going to go faster, but do I have to do this in order to execute the pattern and actually get through it? No, I don't. But where this is really going to pay dividends is A, stopwatch. It's going to speed up your time. It's going to slow you down, slow down your time, I should say. And it's also going to allow you to get into tighter patterns, which will pay dividends when you get into much harder courses. Guys are going to struggle, and you won't. So you're going to turn a little bit earlier. That's something I would do. And then again, once I'm through here, we're going to go through this chute here, right? So I'm going to we talked about balloons. Where do I want to be? Well, let's just see here. I want to put my motorcycle somewhere around here to get out of this thing. So for me, I'm going to make I'm going to come in deep like you do, but I'm not going to want to use this whole pattern. I'm going to want to push somewhere around here because I want to come back out over here. So rather than come out way over here, this isn't a great position to be in right here. And you do a great job. You start pushing back out. And that's good. But if we can really tighten this up and get over here, somewhere over here, then when we go through this chute, this is the chute right here. Remember, just like I showed you here, let's look where your turning movement was. It was right here. And the turn starts here, and I'm saying let's cheat it and go back here. So to me, you're starting your turning movement again pretty much where the turn starts. What I'm suggesting is we're going to start executing that turn earlier, right? So we're over here. So, and in this case, what do I have? I kind of have a chicane, a little bit. So for me, I'm gonna make a balloon shape, and I'm going to shoot, I'm gonna push myself out here, and I'm gonna start turning. And what does that look like when I'm executing my turning movement from before the turn? Again, I have that distance because I'm starting my turning movement back here. Well, now what do I have? I have the same thing. I have that little bit of space because I'm starting my turning movement back here. So how am I accomplishing that? Well, because the turn, for this you have all this room right here to set up for a circle, which is nice. You're not just dropping into a circle like a keyhole right here. So it really gives me a chance to push way down here, which you've done, but I would push super, super deep over here. Really use this up. Eat up as much of these cones as I can. Let's get really pretty close to all this stuff right here. Get really, really close. And this is fast too. I'm drag racing through all this. Why? It's straight. I have a nice long shoot. So I'm gonna make up a little time here. And then I'm gonna swing in as tight as I can. I'm not gonna use any of this. I don't want that because it's gonna move me that direction, which I don't want because I'm gonna be making a 90-degree right. I wanna be as far left as I can. So then I'm gonna start my turn a little bit early so that, again, I have that space that we talk about, and that's gonna shoot me through here. Definitely help me going a little faster. And that's gonna push me, again, just like, see how my line's a little bit further that way than yours? I'm not as high up going that direction. Same thing here. I'm dropping in here and I'm down here. I'm not as far up as you are. See how you're close to these cones? I'm, again, more in the middle of the lane, okay? So now from here, I really like what you did here, but again, where's the turn box? So this is my turn. This is, sorry, right here. So this is my turn, right? So where are you starting your turning movement? You're up here. You're starting your turning movement right at the turn. And as we've already been talking about, let's knock that out a little early. So if I've dropped in here, I'm gonna wanna try to start my turn somewhere over here. So that I'm, where am I? Middle of the lane, but I've started a little early. So I'm gonna come through here, nice. I'm gonna be able to do this pretty quick because I've got a pretty good lane position. So I'm gonna drop in and connect with this and swing back out, okay? And there's, again, it's a little rough drawing there, but there's my S turn. It's a little tighter. Yours is the similar pattern, but mine's a little bit tighter. How am I able to get that a little bit tighter? I'm turning a little bit sooner. And most importantly with all this, I've set myself up better over here. I'm not pushing way out over here. If I push way out over here, I'm gonna be carrying less momentum, and I'm gonna be so much further right. I've really gotta deliberately push left. Whereas if I set up more over here, where I'm in the middle, I can carry a little bit more momentum, and it's easier to make that little adjustment to drop in and really take advantage of a good angle early prior to the actual turn. So once I'm here, this is a prime example of where I'm going to take advantage of, yes, this is a fast section, but, and you do good here. You start moving. The problem to me is this. That's risky right there. And you have just a straight shot. Yes, we talked about a chicane, but in the case like this, these two cones are going to be really tricky. So for me, based on where I'm at, I'm going to want to swing out, and I'm going to be out here to drop in. So I'm going to be, again, this is all one smooth thing, but I'm going to want to be cognizant of this cone, and then I'm going to drop in here and I'm going to really push out here because I just don't want to hit this cone. So this whole section's, again, from back here, smooth turn, drop into that section, really push my front end way out here because I'm just going straight out. So I don't have to set up for anything else. I'm just out again. So it's not really super important where that I'm essentially resetting and putting myself in the middle, I can just get out, and my only real risk is this cone and this cone. Those are the only things I'm thinking about now as I get out. So You did a good job. Think about setting up your turning movements before you're actually in that turn. This you could have turned earlier, this you could have turned earlier, this you could have turned earlier, and you didn't need to use all that. Yes, steer to the outside cone, but for where I'm going to be going, yes, I'm steering to the outside cone, but I don't need to steer to every outside cone because that might put me in a bad position. So we kind of just covered it. But one of the things I want you to look at right here is I've highlighted really the cones that matter. And these I've highlighted in yellow and brightened them up a little bit with the orange. Do these cones matter? No, it's a straight shoot. Do these cones matter? No, they don't. Because I'm just going in and out. But where are the transitions? When I come up here, I'm going to make my 90 right. So this cone matters. When I come around this thing, I have to be careful depending on how I set up for this. If I drop in too early, I'm going to hit this cone. So these cones matter. These are the transition cones. So from now on, when you start thinking about cone patterns, before you even draw your path of travel, what I want you to do is take a highlighter and just look at the pattern and say, okay, well, what are the cones that matter? Because there's only going to be a small amount of cones that even matter. Again, I'm dropping out of this into this section here. This cone matters, this cone matters. I'm not worried about any of these cones. They don't matter. They don't matter because in the first spot, I'm coming out of this long chute, so none of that matters. Or I'm coming in and I'm passing this cone, so that these just don't matter. So don't worry about them. But I want you to start thinking through, okay, let me highlight and do a little math on what cones matter. Because if you can start identifying those, that'll also help you in figuring out the best path of travel to get through them cleanly and quickly. And you might also notice, some of these other ones really don't matter, so you can just blast through them. And it really makes a cone pattern much smaller, because what are we really talking about? We're just really talking about a few small sections here. So I've really kind of identified in the other drawing what matters, but a couple of things just to remember that I've mentioned, and I'm going to harp on that. And this is where I want you to work on that 50 or 60 foot cone section where you're just working on hard accelerating, threshold braking, and balance ball to stay nice and neutral. This is all free space to go very, very, very fast. And as we set up before, here's my turn. My turn does not start here. My turn starts back here. So start setting that turn up early. Okay, set up that turn early, puts me right in a nice spot. Now I want to come back through this direction, right? So is it more advantageous to do that from this spot or from this spot? I think we would agree middle of the pattern is where I want to be. So I'm going to push way out to these cones so that I can drop back in into a nice spot down here, okay? Balloon shapes, think about that in spots. Now once I'm coming through here, okay, turn starts here. So I want to cheat it and start early. Well, I can do that here. So now I'm starting my turning movement much earlier than actually where it turns. Now when I'm here again, same thing, I'm dropping out of here. So this cone matters because I don't want to be, if I'm too far over here and I'm trying to cheat it, I can hit that. If I'm too far over this side to get through this chicane, I'm going to hit that. So these are the ones that matter. This is the one that matters coming in. This is the one that matters going out. Now I'm going to get over here. So again, I want to set up nice and high. I'm going to set up nice and high to drop in over here and put myself in the middle of the pattern. And this cone matters here. So we've identified these are the ones that matter. Once I'm coming down here, again, I'm going to be shooting through here, right? So do I want to be set up on the right side over here? Or I should say from the writer's view, the left side or to the right. I want to be on the right side. So that when I'm coming through here, yes, this is a fast section and I can go quick, but I don't want to make a straight line. I want to make this a nice arc so that I'm shooting through the middle of this thing because I don't want to hit this And now I know I'm going to make a hard right. I don't want to hit this. And I'm almost done with the pattern. So I'm going to sweep nice and deep on here. Why? Because the bike's already leaned over to the right. I'm not going to risk clipping any of these with my bag. And if I push far this way, I can really carry momentum through that chute. And that's just a nice little chute, and I'm accelerating out. Okay? So a couple things I'm gonna harp on. These are not complicated in the sense that they're all pretty much the same concepts. Hard lefts, hard rights. But start thinking about set up early, accelerate. This is a drag race right here. This is a drag race right here. This is a drag race right here. When I say this is a drag race, this is a drag race here. These are all little sections I can get 2/10, 3/10. And now let's say there's 6, 7 patterns in a motor competition. I just beat you by 2 seconds here because I'm accelerating. Am I hard on the brakes here, slowing down? Am I nice and tight here? Am I hard on the brakes right here, slowing down? Yes, I am. But I'm going to carry more momentum everywhere, and I'm going to beat you just doing that alone. You can be just as smooth at turning. You can be just as tight a radius, just as great with your clutch throttle. You can set up just as early as me. But if I'm covering that brake and I'm threshold braking in these areas, in this area here going that way, in this area here going that way, in this area here going that way, I'm going to beat you. So, all right.